Welcome to another episode of the Minding My Temple podcast. I am your host, Tasha Temple, and today I have some really good information for you guys about smoothies. Yes, smoothies are really popular these days, and everybody's selling smoothies. Everybody's talking about wanting to drink smoothies for their health and all these other purposes, and I want to get down to the nitty-gritty so that you guys have all the information you need so that you guys can get your smoothies on and in a way that's balanced. Because remember, the Minding My Temple platform and the Minding My Temple podcast is the space where life meets balance. And so we're going to talk about how to make sure you're drinking your smoothies and using them effectively in your life so that it can benefit your health or benefit your goals that you have in regards to your wellness. But first, without further ado, we're going to jump into my segment that I absolutely love called Minding My Business. This is the segment where I tell you guys all about what I'm doing in my life to honor my self-care, because the only way I can be my best me is if I'm tending and minding to my own business every day. And it's a job, it's a practice. And, you know, a lot of times we get so caught up in the day-to-day, we get so caught up in what everyone else is doing. And I don't even mean just on social media, because that is one of the things that's a part of our world now. But I'm just talking about, you know, tending to the business of your spouse, or tending to the business of your parents, or tending to the business of your kids, or tending to the business of your work. I don't mean it in just like a gossipy way about minding your business, but I'm just talking about we're always tending to everyone else's business that we often put ourselves to the side, and we don't take the time to make sure we're doing okay. And the only person that's gonna make sure you're doing okay is you. And so you got to take the responsibility and initiative to make sure you are your best self. Because I'll be really honest, there's no way you can be your best self for your spouse, for your kids, for your parents, for your friends, unless you are actually doing the things that you're teaching them to do. And I'll be honest, everybody learns more from your actions than they do from what you tell them. And so people are watching. And so make sure you're doing the things that make you feel good, so that when you go out here to help other people, it feels good to them because you feel good about yourself. Now, that's just the spiel I have for that, but I'll let you guys know what I'm up to in my life this week. And I'll just be honest, everything's a mess. Everything has been a mess for me this year. I do not exactly know what has happened or how I've gotten so off track, but I definitely have been in a space of feeling very overwhelmed by the things that I've been regularly doing. And I'm not exactly sure why that's come to play in this space, because I don't feel like I'm doing anything extra, but the things that I am doing just seem like they have been so magnified. And so I'm like in a space where I'm not really following my schedule, or things I just get so caught up with the day that I just can't get nothing done. And then I get overwhelmed. And yeah, so this week, I just don't know what I'm up to. Like, I'm off my game. Just real talk, I'm off. It's an off year. I don't know if I'm going to the playoffs this year. Or maybe it's a place for me to reflect about like what's really now important for me. Maybe things that I've been doing, I haven't been finding the same purpose and pleasure in them. So maybe they seem more like task oriented rather than me just simply being myself. It's probably something I need to look into. But I do know that things and juggling my daily life have gotten to be a real struggle. And I think it's coming to a head now. So I don't know if I'm now at like COVID fatigue, or that I've just put so much on my plate, and now that life is getting back to normal, as I use my air quotes, that I don't have to say, like, if you think about during COVID, we had a lot more time, and now that things are getting a little back to normal, maybe the time that I had during COVID is actually not there anymore, or maybe I'm just not utilizing that space and time effectively. I'm not exactly sure, but this week I'm all over the place. So I'm like, I don't know how to mind my business this week. I'm trying to get I'm also redecorating my house, which actually might have me feeling a little overwhelmed, because I'll be honest, for those of you guys who know me, I'm very particular about my living space. And I like for my space to look and feel like a spa. I like it to feel all cozy and calm and zen. So everything in my house is like neutral. So it's like white, tans, grays, beiges, off-white. So a mixture of like all those little neutral colors. So when you walk into it, it's kind of like, oh, this feels so like cozy. It's like a little white, beige, tan cocoon all together. And I realized that in my decorating initially, a lot of the pieces in my home are not very functional. So they looked cute, but I really couldn't use them. And so I was like, well, I need to make my space not only cute and zen and fun and calm, but it needs to be functional. Like I need to be able to use this space to be able to also feel at peace and calm. And so I kind of have been restructuring how things look in my place. And in that, it's a mess. Like everything is everywhere. Stuff is not where it should be because I like stuff to be in its place. Like everything has its place and I want everything to be in its space. And so I know where it's at and it looks so cute right there. Like in my mind, I'm a very visual person. I like for things to look a certain way because when they visually look how I like them to look, it just feels all yummy in my spirit. And so yeah, I'm like redecorating and it's causing me to feel overwhelmed because my space seems scattered, which also makes me feel like I'm scattered in my mind. And I like for things to be organized. I'm a very organized person, y'all, and there's no organization in my house right now. To be really honest, I washed clothes and I have not folded them and they're laying on my kitchen table. That is not like me. Like clothes are all over the kitchen table. So guess what? I don't even have anywhere to eat. And then I have bought this cute little egg chair and it's laid all out on the floor because I wanted to like look at it. So I took it out the box and the pieces are like all over the place. So I can't even really walk around my like kitchen area because not only are clothes all on the table, but the egg chair that I purchased that's not put together yet is just like on the floor and like everywhere. And I also bought a new computer because I'm in this creative space where I like to create and curate content in regards to like photos and like little videos. And I'm really a creative person at heart, even though I have this like analytical side, but it makes me happy to create things. And I really like pictures. That's my art, like taking pictures. And I like to be able to curate and create them in a way that's visually appealing to me. And so I really like nature and taking pictures when I'm on vacation of nature and just the natural land and the natural vegetation that God has given us. And so I bought reluctantly an Apple computer. I know, like I am not one of those people who likes Apple products except my iPhone. And so I've broken down and gotten like a Mac, I don't even know what you call it, but it's a computer. And then I bought an iPad Pro. And so my computer is not really set up yet. I've had it for over like 2 months and it's not even plugged in. I haven't had a chance to use it. And that's where I'm at. And that's probably why I'm feeling so overwhelmed by everything else. But I do know in a couple months, I'm going to have a little bit of a break and some time. So I'm going to make sure I dedicate that time to truly mind my business and figure out where I'm going to head into halftime, right? Because we're now in second quarter and then I have some things going on in second quarter, but once halftime comes around, I'm going to have some really good direction about how I'm going to mind my business after the half, because I got to come back, y'all. I need to get some points in the second half. I need to make sure that I have enough, points on the board to win the game. I can get myself back straight in halftime. I need a little pep talk. I'm going to do all that. And so that's what I'm up to mind my business right now. It's really like, I'm just being honest, it's all over the place. It's chaos. So I don't really know what I'm doing to mind my business. And that's just me being honest. So that's that. Let's jump into now talking about smoothies, because actually one thing that helps me mind my business throughout the week and keeps me centered and keeps me grounded and making sure that I get all my nutrients during the week is making smoothies. So I haven't really been much of a smoothie maker in the past, and I've gotten like excited about it lately. It's something I have incorporated into my daily eating habits, or not even daily, but in my eating regimen and in my lifestyle to stay balanced. I've started to incorporate Smoothies. Who would have thought? Because I was never a smoothie girl. Because I'm one of those people who's always like, you need to make sure that you eat your food, like don't drink it. But sometimes when we have deficiencies in certain places, or if I'm trying things out that I may not really like smoothies has been really helpful. And also sometimes in the mornings when I'm in a rush and I don't want to skip a meal, making a smoothie can be really quick and really nutrient dense and really nutrient packed and filling. And I started to realize like this could be a thing that I could start to incorporate. And I started to look up how these things could benefit me and also what are the pitfalls so that I can avoid that. And so I wanted to share with you guys my information and what I found out about making smoothies. I know I'm yelling. I'm just excited about making smoothies, y'all. I don't know why. I have a whole cute little regimen, and I literally make sure that I not only am mindful about the nutrients, but I'm mindful about my pocketbook. And so I make sure that when I'm buying ingredients for smoothies that I'm thinking about this consciously, like how do I get the most bang out of the smoothie for my body, and then also the most bang out of my buck for buying all these ingredients that could be super expensive. And so I'll show you what I do before this video is over. And if you're listening, that means you get to go watch the video. And all you got to do to watch the video is go to my YouTube page. All you got to do to find the YouTube page is go to YouTube and type in the search engine, Minding My Temple. That easy, that simple. And then make sure you like and subscribe, please, because that's how you get all the updates about new videos and new little things I'm posting and all of that jazz. So make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Now, let's get into it. So smoothies, like I said earlier, are very popular these days, and they're being marketed as healthy. And yes, they can be healthy, but let's talk about how we can make them healthy and how we can make them a balanced choice, because not all of them are going to be beneficial to our health. So let's talk about how we can navigate through that. So your smoothies are going to be loaded with fruits and veggies. That's great. That's awesome. That's magnificent, right? Because we want to have a lot of fruits and vegetables in our, daily regimen, because we want to get back to eating real food, y'all. If you don't hear anything else from me, is I want you guys to start eating real food in a balanced way so that we're fueling our bodies in a way that's effective. So yes, smoothies are loaded with fruits and vegetables. Yes. But some are packed with sugar and unhealthy ingredients. And that's why I want to make sure I give you guys the tools to be able to navigate through the ones that are going to be nutrient dense and packed, or the ones that have the ingredients that aren't going to really support us very well, or that cause disease, or that can cause us those unhealthy outcomes. Okay, so let's talk about using smoothies as a balanced option. Let's first define what a smoothie is. Let's start there. So smoothies are like your thick, creamy based beverages, and they're going to mimic like a milkshake. So their consistency is going to be thick and creamy, just like a milkshake. However, it ain't a milkshake. I'm not going to tell you to add ice cream and sugar and syrup and all of that stuff. That's a milkshake. We're talking about making a smoothie for your balanced health choices, okay? Now, there's a lot of different things you can add to your smoothies, and this is a perfect way to start adding in those ingredients or those fruits and vegetables that you would not normally use. So if you're somebody who doesn't like beets, this is a great way to get the nutrients from beets into your diet without having to eat a beet, right? So for those of you who don't like celery, this is a great way to incorporate celery into your diet without having to actually eat the celery. And a lot of these foods can be masked with other flavors. So I'll give you an example. A lot of your fruits will mask the flavor of your vegetables. So if there's something you don't like the flavor or taste of, because your vegetables have, very interesting flavor profiles that a lot of our taste buds don't recognize. And so when you don't recognize those flavor profiles, it ends up feeling like, ooh, I don't like that. It's kind of like meeting a new person, right? So when you meet a new person, like, I don't know if I really like them or not. I'm on the fence about them. Like sometimes you meet somebody, you're like, oh, I like them off the bat. Sometimes you meet somebody, you're like, I don't like them off the bat. And then sometimes you're like, I don't know, I might need to try this a few more times. And then even sometimes if you don't like somebody off the bat, you might end up liking them later. That's how your taste buds work, especially in regards to like vegetables. So sometimes you eat one and you're like, yep, I like it off the bat. Or sometimes you're like, I don't like that one. Or sometimes you have to try it a few times in different ways to determine whether or not you like it. So smoothies are a great way to introduce your taste buds without knowing it to the certain vegetables, because it's going to be masked by the flavor of your fruit. Who knew, right? All of this stuff has multiple benefits. And so, here's the thing when we're talking about fruits and vegetables. The recommended serving a day is 5. 5 servings a day are the recommended amounts of fruits and vegetables. And here's the challenge with us here in the United States of America. Guess what? Nobody's really getting the amount of fruits and vegetables that we need a day. So not many people are meeting the recommendations. And the reason why fruits and vegetables are so important is because they are packed with nutrients. They are packed with vitamins, they are packed with minerals, they are packed with fiber, and they're packed with these little magical things called antioxidants. You cannot supplement antioxidants anywhere. They don't sell them over the counter. You can't go to your local health food store and say, give me some antioxidants. It doesn't work like that. The only way to get your antioxidants is to actually eat the fruits and vegetables. Now, here's also the catch. Each different fruit and vegetable has different antioxidants based on their color and the profile. So like your red fruits and vegetables have things that help with heart disease, right? Then you have your green fruits and vegetables, those help with a variety of things. Your greens are like super, 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 super. And the number one super green, meaning like the one that gives you the most bang for your buck, is going to be kale. So kale is considered the most nutrient dense vegetable. And so if you don't like kale, and it's too thick or you don't like the taste, it's a great thing to put into your smoothie because it's the most nutrient dense vegetable. You're gonna get the most nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants from something like kale. And so be mindful about that when you're adding things to your smoothie, that you're gonna get these antioxidants that help your body fight off what they call free radicals. Free radicals is what damages our cells and what creates inflammation, what creates disease, and what creates, all these unhealthy outcomes in our body are the free radicals. And so the antioxidants fight against the free radicals that damage our cells. And so if we have enough of that to combat with this, right, then now we have a balance in our body. And so what causes disease is the imbalance in the body. So the goal is to get to a state of what they call homeostasis, which is a term they refer to as balance in the body. And so say, for instance, I have 10 free radicals today, and then I don't eat any fruits and vegetables, so I don't have any antioxidants. Guess what? I'm in a deficit, which means my cells are at greater likelihood or at greater risk of developing disease. And so guess what? Say, for instance, I'm like, you know what? I'm in a deficit today with my free radicals. Let me throw in a smoothie, and now all of a sudden, my smoothie outweighs my free radicals, and then I could be in a plus, in the positive, in regards to having more antioxidants. In case I come into contact with more free radicals later on in the day, my body will now have either a balance or an influx of the antioxidants. So make sure that you're using your fruits and vegetables wisely, and a smoothie is a great way to get in those fruits and vegetables you don't typically get in a day. Now, I said that the serving for fruits and vegetables every day, the recommendation is 5 servings a day. So let's talk about what a serving is, because we're like, how much is a serving? So typically when you talk about majority of your fruits, so that is an apple, pear, pineapple, mango, cherries, grapes, those will be a half a cup for 1 serving or 1 portion, okay? There are some exceptions. The exceptions are the following. So if I have berries, so that's like strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, blackberry, or melon, like watermelon, cantaloupe, or honeydew, that's a cup for a serving. You get a little more bang for your buck with the melon and the berries. So typically a half a cup is a serving for your fruits. And then if you do berries and or melon, a whole cup is a serving, okay? That's fruits. For vegetables, a half a cup is a serving. Unless you're doing something like your leafy greens, and your leafy greens are gonna be a whole cup is a serving. So your leafy greens are just like your berries and your melon. And so you wanna make sure you get at least 5 servings a day. And so if you're someone who doesn't like vegetables a lot, a smoothie can be a great option, okay? So that's one benefit of drinking or having a smoothie on a regular basis, is that you can increase your fruit and vegetable intake. Because remember, 5 servings a day is the recommendation, and you can basically kind of get at least 2 to 3 in a serving. And that means you can have like maybe then 1 serving for lunch and then 1 serving for dinner, and then you got your servings a day. There it is. And then you don't have to do anything extra, but then throw in maybe like a smoothie. Look at that. Easy breezy. Now, another benefit from having smoothies is getting in our fiber. Most people aren't getting their fiber that they need a day. You're probably wondering, how much fiber do I need every day? So men need 38 grams of fiber and women need 25 grams of fiber. But hear this. So say for instance, I eat my most nutrient dense vegetable like kale. Kale does have fiber, but for that 1 cup of kale, you're gonna get about 5 grams of fiber, right? So you're like, wait a second, I gotta eat 5 cups of kale? And you're like, I may not want to do that. And so to get to your fiber recommendation every day, throwing in a smoothie can give you maybe 2 to 3 portions of fruits and vegetables, what could include almost up to 15 grams of fiber. And most of us would be like almost all the way there. So if I'm a man looking for 37 grams, I'm almost halfway there. And if I'm a woman looking for 25 grams, I'm like over halfway there, just by drinking the one smoothie. So smoothies can be beneficial because 1, they increase my fruit and vegetable intake, or 2, they increase my fiber intake. So there goes 2 benefits. Here's what I also tell people. You got to be mindful about why you're using your smoothie, because you don't want to drink a smoothie and eat a meal, because that's too many calories overall. People often ask, do smoothies contribute to weight loss? It depends on how you use them. You got to use them effectively. If I'm eating a meal and drinking a smoothie, that's a whole lot more calories, so that might not promote weight loss, right? But if I'm using one of my smoothies to replace a meal, that could contribute to weight loss if I'm doing it in a way that's balanced. So if I'm using a smoothie just to supplement my fruit and vegetable intake, to make sure I get the vitamins, to make sure I get the minerals, to make sure I get the antioxidants, then I might just want to use it for a snack. And if I'm using my smoothie for a snack, then I want to keep it really simple. I want to keep it to just a base and a liquid. So when I say a base is something solid, and a liquid is something to mix that up, right, to get it that thick and creamy consistency. And you want to use, your base would be the solid, so that would be like your fruits and vegetables. And then a liquid could include things like coconut water. It can include, coconut milk. It could include almond milk. It could include, cashew milk. It can include regular milk. Anything that's liquid that doesn't have a lot of calories is going to be a great way to use, or a great option to use for your liquid part of the smoothie. For your base, you want to use a vegetable and a fruit. So I typically, for my vegetables, always use some kind of green, because remember, your leafy greens are those power-packed vegetables. I typically like to use spinach because it mixes very well, and sometimes I also use kale, and I use about 2 handfuls. So I take 2 handfuls of spinach or 2 handfuls of kale, and I use that. And I also use a cup of fruit. I like to use frozen fruit. I buy big old bags of frozen fruit from Costco. And so berries specifically are things I like to use. I like to use cherries. I like to use mango. I like to use pineapple, but you can use whatever you choose and whatever you like. And I like to use the frozen ones because they're a lot less expensive. So if I buy like a whole 2-pound bag of organic blueberries in the frozen section, that's $6, when I can buy a little plastic tub in the fresh section for like $5-6. I was like, that's not worth it for me. And so I'm going to buy the frozen vegetables. And so I take a cup of frozen vegetables. I specifically like to cut that cup in half. So I do a half a cup of something I like and another a cup of something I like. Now I'm going to show you something. I like to pre-freeze, look at that. If you're looking, I like to pre-freeze in mason jars my ingredients. So what I do is, when I get my ingredients home from the grocery store, I go ahead and use fresh spinach though, because organic fresh spinach is cheap, y'all. I get a big old box from Costco for $4. That's it. And that sucker's got a lot of spinach in it. So what I do is I take 2 handfuls of my spinach and put it at the bottom of my mason jar. And then in this jar specifically, I have dark cherries and I have mango. So dark cherries are really good for, recovery after exercise. And since I do work out every day, that's awesome for recovery of my muscles. And then the mango actually helps in digestion. And the spinach, of course, is one of those nutrient-packed, dense foods. And so I pack it down with my spinach, and then I put a half a cup of fruit over top, and then the other half at the top. So that's my whole cup of fruit. And then I sit it in the freezer. And so all I do to make my smoothies, I take this out of the freezer and then I might add my other types of ingredients. So I add my liquid, and so that could be either coconut water, coconut milk, it can be almond milk. Again, I specifically like to use unsweetened almond milk. I also add some other different ingredients because I have to think about what are the ingredients that I'm not really getting on a regular basis. So I add ginger and I add turmeric. And I also add some collagen powder because I like for my skin to be nice and tight and supple. And then I mix it all up in the blender. I also add a half a banana, you guys. And that's to get a little bit of fiber and a little bit of flavor. And that's what I put in my snack smoothie. That's it. Now, if I'm using my smoothie for a meal, remember a meal needs to have a combination of carbs and fiber, protein, and fat. So remember, for the carbohydrates, those is going to be your fruit. So whatever fruit you add is going to be the carbohydrate, which is going to provide you with energy. And the fiber is going to come from the fruit and the vegetable that's in your smoothie. You're thinking like, well, how do I add protein and fat to the smoothie if I want to actually use it as a meal? Well, what I do to my smoothies is for my fat, I add either avocado, because that's a fat, or I add some kind of nut butter like cashew butter, almond butter, or peanut butter to it. And so that'll give you a little bit of fat. And for my protein in my smoothie, you can add eggs. Yes, I said eggs. Add raw eggs, mix that up. You'll never know it's in there because you're not going to be able to taste it. Or you can just go and buy a protein powder of your choice. Just be mindful to watch out for how much sugar is added in that, because you want to make sure you get something like that's unflavored so that you don't add any additional calories. And that's what I do if I'm using my smoothie as a meal. Okay? Now, let's talk about a little bit some of the pitfalls. The major pitfalls for your smoothies are the added sugars. We want to avoid added sugars at all costs, okay? So I'll give you an example. If I were to go to Smoothie King and get the Hulk Vanilla Smoothie, y'all, it's got 47 grams of sugar that's been added. That's not a good thing, because for men, the daily recommendation for added sugar is 37.5 grams, which is 9 teaspoons of added sugar. For women, it's 25 grams of added sugar per day is the recommended amount, and that's 6 teaspoons. So we want to stay below 25 grams of added sugar if you're women, and if I'm a man, I want to stay below 37.5 grams of sugar. And that one smoothie from Smoothie King, the Hulk Vanilla, has 47 grams of added sugar, which means you're over, both men and women. And so be mindful that even natural sugars can become added sugars when I'm using or making a smoothie. So there's no need to add the added sugars like sugar cane or honey or maple syrup or agave nectar. Those are all added sugars, and you can basically get you a sweet-based fruit to use to sweeten the smoothie. That's also why I buy frozen fruit, because they're a little sweeter than the fresh ones. So I don't have to worry about adding any additional sugar to my smoothie. Remember, adding sugar and adding additional unnecessary calories is what leads to increasing our risk of disease. And that's not what we want to do. We want to keep those things balanced. So that's the biggest thing you want to make sure you remind yourself of when you're making smoothies is the added sugar and the added additional calories. The other thing you want to be mindful of is know why you're using it. Am I using it for a snack, or am I using it for a meal? And if I'm using it for a snack, all I need is a base, meaning fruits and vegetables and a liquid, and any other additional ingredients like ginger, turmeric, any of those additional types of herbs and spices or nutritional herbal ingredients that I want to add. Those are fine. But if I'm using it for a meal, I need to make sure I have some type of protein, which can be a protein powder or eggs. I want to make sure I have some kind of healthy fat, which can be avocado or some kind of nut butter. And I want to make sure I have some kind of carb and fiber, which are going to be my fruits and vegetables. Now, I'll put my favorite recipe on this video so you guys know how to make it yourself. And if you want to try out any smoothies and you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can answer any of your questions. If you have any questions, you can reach me at findbalance@mindingmytemple.com, or you can just catch me on Instagram, drop it to my DM, ask me a question. My Instagram account is @mindingmytemple. Make sure you follow me there for all of your life meets balance needs. And this is another episode of the Minding My Temple podcast. Go get your smoothies. Go make your smoothies. I'm out, y'all.